I'm probably going to stumble good and Dennis Royal, so we'll see.
Yeah, you're fine.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. We are coming out of recess. We had to delay today's start due to Commissioner Bell being stuck behind a tree in the road. But she's here. So we'd like to welcome you all to the board meeting. We'll call this meeting to order at 10 o'clock. The conference, I'm not going to do that. The audio capabilities are listen only and are offered on the best effort. Our meeting is also live streamed and can join us online by going to our website. Other viewing options are available at tctvonline.com. I shortened that, I messed it up, but that's okay. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody that's on the call to mute your phone or mute your cell phone teams. You can do this on your phone by pressing *6, and you can unmute yourself by also pressing *6. Please keep yourself muted unless it's your turn to speak. Public comment. Those intending to provide public comment to the board may attend in person or email submissions to the public comments email on our website. Public comments received by 12 p.m. on Tuesday will be distributed to the board, posted online before the meeting, and become part of the public record. You may also provide public comment virtually by registering ahead of time. To register, please email public comments by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday prior to the board meeting. Public comments can also be mailed to the Board of Commissioners Office, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon, 97141. For more information on public comment options, please visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. And I see, do we have anybody signed up online, Debbie?
We don't have anybody.
So we have one person, and we do have one person signed up in the room. Joel Baldwin, would you like to come up here? Would you like to do the?
Do the Pledge of
I can do
Allegiance.
the Pledge of Allegiance first. Hey, I haven't done this that much.
You're fine.
Go ahead, lead us, please.
All right. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good morning, sir. Please have a seat.
And could you make sure the microphone is green if you have to push the button?
It's green.
Excellent.
Okay, my name is Joe Baldwin. I live at 41500 Anderson Road, Nehalem. And I'm here to represent our neighborhood on concerns of a flooding situation that has occurred repeatedly, most recently in the last big rainstorm. And it's been repaired. I want to thank Public Works. They're promptly did some dig out and put a lot of backfill, so the road it's passable. But it's a temporary situation. This has occurred repeatedly. I've owned this property for 30 years, and the creek actually runs through the middle of my property, and this is the worst flooding situation that we've had ever. And we've got about 7 neighbors that live at the north end. It's a dead-end road, and they are quite concerned, as well as myself. If this washes out again or completely washes out, we'll be stuck. So what I want to read some notes here. Hold on. In the past, there's been discussion and also concern, is this a salmon stream, which technically it's not. There's been 2 surveys done that I know of with Department of Fish and Wildlife. The outlet of the culvert is too high. It's on a big rock where there's no fish passage, and most of the year that creek is quite low. And all the years that I've been there, I've always looked for fish, and the best we found is a salamander. And there's been discussion, well, maybe FEMA should be involved and do a major evaluation, which sounds like overkill and delay and costly. I'll give you I'm a retired consultant in the world of forestry, and there's been numerous occasions where a new road has to be punched in the forest, for logging access and over with either a ditch or a stream. And the process has been handled in one day. Can you believe that? Where you excavate where the culvert pipe is going to go, two sections or one section, depending upon the width required. Two excavators handling the pipe and cover with rock, and it's a done deal. So what my encouragement is to work with Public Works on the methodology. I know they've done a lot of culvert stuff, and I think this particular one got bogged down over time on, like I was saying, various studies having been done, which um, since they've already been done, and the fact that it's not a salmon-bearing stream, which it does feed into Coal Creek. That's a major fish stream down the hill a little ways. So that's about what I have to say. And any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Well, thank you for coming in today, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any questions for you, but please know that we're in touch with the Director of Public Works, Chris Lady, and we've heard from a lot of your neighbors, and we're also concerned about this. And I'm really grateful that they got it cleaned up rapidly and taken care of for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
coming
sir.
in.
Okay. Moving on, we have no non-agenda items. We'll move on to legislative administrative. Consideration of amendment number 1 to Administrative Services Agreement 6534 with Tillamook Family Counseling Center Incorporated for the fulfillment of the Criminal Justice Commission Specialty Court Grant for Tillamook County Behavioral Health Court. Frank Hanner Williams, is he online? He is. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. This is what is coming before you today is to update the original specialty court grant awarded to Tillamook County Community Corrections through the Criminal Justice Commission, covering the period from October 23 to December 31st, 2025, was an amount of that total amount during that period of time was $71,370, and some additional dollars were allocated by the Criminal Justice Commission to make the total amount $119,617. What this amendment does is that it allows for us to be able to invoice for the gap between the two figures. The amount is approximately $48,000, and that amount is much more reflective of the cost of the service. And the Criminal Justice Commission then allowed for that amount to be higher. So since the grant ends 12/31, we want to make sure that we are able to invoice for those additional dollars, and we want to do that within the next few days. And so what is happening now is that we're bringing this forward, and once this amendment is approved, we can then invoice for the additional dollars for the project and move forward. And I request your approval.
Okay. Commissioner Bell, any questions or comments?
Thank you, Frank. No questions for me, and I am fully supportive.
And I will agree with you. And I'm ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of amendment number 1 to Administrative Services Agreement number 6534 with Tillamook Family Counseling Center, Inc. for the fulfillment of the Criminal Justice Commission Specialty Court Grant for Tillamook County Behavioral Health Court.
And I will second that. Hearing a motion in a second. Are there any further comments?
No?
Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay, moving on to number 6. Item number 6, consideration of an agreement with Thermo Scientific Portable Analytical Instruments Incorporated for a TrueNarc Delta Portable Narcotics Testing Unit. Matt Kelly, Under Sheriff. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, Commissioners. For your consideration this morning is exactly what we did last week. This is a agreement with Thermo Scientific Portable Analytic Instruments, Inc. They provide the TrueNarc machine. I explained a little bit yesterday, or not yesterday, but last week. It's a device to test narcotics or other substances. So we can identify it as a presumptive test. So in case other people didn't see last week, the device shoots a laser into the substance, and when that laser hits the substance, it scatters in what they call a fingerprint, and it's specific to each substance, and then it can identify it. Basically, what we're looking is to test for fentanyl, which is too dangerous to test like we used to do in the old days. This is a program that we've been wanting to do for a couple of years. Fentanyl's been around for a few years, and it's too dangerous for the deputies to do it without the precautions. Been trying to find the funding, and it's come through that we found more funding so we can get a second device, which is what our master plan was in the very beginning. There's one for detectives and one for deputies, troopers, and law enforcement officers, so it's available to use, so we can test it and be able to meet the presumptive test requirement for the DA to prosecute the crime. That's all I have. If you have any questions.
Commissioner Bell, any questions or comments?
I do not, because we talked about this last week, but I'm thrilled that we're getting another one. I'm so glad that the sheriff's office is going to have these tools.
I couldn't agree more. I was excited about the first one. I'm even more excited about having another one. So, can I
Mr. Chair, I move approval of an agreement with Thermo Scientific Portable Analytic Instruments, Inc. for a TrueNarc Delta Portable Narcotics Testing Unit.
and I second that. Any further comments? Nope, with a motion and a second, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right. Item number 7, consideration of amendment number 002 to agreement number 25-007 with the Oregon Department of Energy for the Tillamook County Resilience Program. Randy Thorpe, Director of Tillamook County Emergency Management. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners, and welcome to Tillamook, Commissioner Bell.
Thank you.
What this is the Second Amendment extending out the length of the grant agreement with the Department of Energy. Reasons why they did it, this is on behalf of the Department of Energy. They feel that there's a lot of counties that needed additional time. We were getting really close. I talked with our contractor, and we would have she would have been able to finish it, but there was a few more things she wanted to touch up to make it look real good. And so I went ahead and did the extension so they can do their last little fact checking and get it sent off to the printer for publication. So we're just, that will be done about mid-February, she thinks, and this extension is past that, so we should be all right.
Okay. Commissioner Bell, any comments or questions?
I do not have any questions other than that I wanted to ask Randy to stick around for a minute after the vote to give us a little update on this storm, if you will.
Okay.
And I have no further questions. So I guess I'm ready for a motion.
Okay.
And this time I'm going to use this.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of amendment number 2 to agreement number 25-007 with the Oregon Department of Energy for the Tillamook County Resilience Program.
And I second that. I'll hear a motion in a second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
All right, thank you. So, Randy, I know there are power outages all over the county. If you can talk to us about those, that would be great, or road closures, or if we can expect more from this storm. I can tell you that it hit my neighborhood particularly
Yes,
hard.
it did.
There were trees down in my neighborhood, power lines down, 2 of them that I could see with my eyes, and one of them on my house. So there's a tree on my house now. And luckily for me, it was a huge spruce from across the road. So I got the top of the tree and it penetrated my deck roof, but apparently not my house roof, so I'm very lucky and grateful. And we're and then when I was coming to work, there's another tree down in the road that I couldn't drive around, and so luckily, one of my neighbors showed up with a tow package and a strap and strapped up the tree and towed it out of the way, which was very great. So anyway, my point is, I bet this is happening all over the county. So what can you tell us about people's situations and is the storm over?
Well, the storm is definitely not over. We've got a little break going on right now. Uh, At the Weather Service briefing this morning, they're looking at, we're going to get another rain of some heavy rain Thursday into Friday. They're not predicting the extreme winds now, but that could change for the coastal area. And we're looking at probably getting around 4 to 5 inches of rain through Saturday. So we'll still be getting the rain. We're not looking at our rivers getting to flood stage. The Nehalem is the only one that will come close, but that could also change just depending on if this rain hits more. The atmospheric river is kind of south right now, where the main parts is hitting the state, but of course it can slip north. So we will continue with this. We're definitely monitoring all our streams and the sloughs and tides to make sure, you know, where we're at and with the amount of rain. Yes, we do have widespread. From what Tillamook PUD stated is that the main line, of course, coming over, I think from Pacific Power this time, they've got some issues with it, and that's what affects North County. So not only do we have a lot of trees down and power lines down, we also are waiting for them to fix the main lines that come in. And that was the main reason why the majority's up there. But I guess their last count, they've got about 13,000 people with outages. So it's quite widespread. And so we'll see. But I know North County got hit the worst with this. So I think the winds, you know, were up there more than anywhere else. As far as official road closings, the only one that I'm aware of is Highway 130. That's the Little Nestucca Road. That's the cutoff from the Dolph Junction over to south of Pacific City. It's closed due to landslide. So they're saying, ODOT's saying we don't have any idea of when it's going to be open again. So it seems like we close that road every year for landslides or bridge problems. So that's the only closure I'm aware of right now that's in Tillamook County. People need to go to trip check if they're going to go anywhere else outside this county because there are a lot of roads that are being closed and then they're getting reopened. And so that's vital that they check that. And also anything new in the county, you know, it'll come up on trip check there. So, and you know, Chris is on here in a little bit. He can probably talk to you and answer any questions on what their crews are doing with what the county roads look like, but he hasn't notified me of any additional closures or problems. But the biggest thing is people just need to be real careful, slow down while they're driving. And I think the two schools went on delay. That was I think Nestucca and also Nehalem. Neahkahnie. And they just did a 2-hour delay just because they didn't want buses in the dark because you can't see things in the dark. So that's a big caution we have there. But the storm is still going, and we're not done with it. We're definitely into the monsoon season of Tillamook County. But they're not looking at quite as heavy of rain, but they're still looking at quite a bit. You know, 4 to 5 inches is still a lot of rain, but not quite what we had last week. So we've just are continuing this storm from last week into this week, and unfortunately, looking around with our declaration, we're the only county so far that has sustained damage that they feel they needed to do a declaration as a county. So we wish that others would do it so we could get our minimums up to it. But Manzanita City has also done a state of emergency, and it's due. They've got a landslide possible. It's up by their Public Works building, and they've looked at it, and the soil's starting to move a little bit. So Sergeant Sims has contacted individuals to come and look at it to see if what they can do to stabilize it and how serious it is. There were some homes downhill from it. He's contacted them in person and by telephone to just let them know of the situation. But right now, he hasn't called me back and said that it started to move at any degree, but that is one concern. And so they went ahead and did a state of emergency there too, just so they can open up those doors in case it does come down.
I appreciate you being in touch with Manzanita and offering assistance as we can, or as will be helpful to them. Is there, I'm thinking, you just said 13,000 people out of power and a main transmission line down. Do you want to give people some advice about extended power outages? I'm just thinking about 2007, when you were in Utah, where it's nice and dry. We lost power for 7 days. And it was, there were incidences of people, it was cold. It was December. It was approaching Christmas, in fact. It was practically the same week. And, people using propane heaters indoors and stuff like that. Do you want to talk about a little safety and extended power outages?
Yeah, the main thing with that extended power outages is definitely do not use anything that will produce a flame inside your house because of the carbon monoxide and other toxic gases that come in. Wood stoves are about the best option right there with that. The other option is that you buy a backup generator, which can at least run your refrigerator and your microwave, which is the two most important things in the world. So, but that's the biggest thing there. And the other thing is just be prepared, just make sure you have extra blankets, extra clothes to keep warm. Make sure that you have non-perishable food that you can turn to with the extended delays. And again, with the extended delays, we'll try to get out and see and how we can help, people with maybe some warming centers out there or some overnight for them, just depending on what they want to do. Most of the cities have, they open up their city halls for hot cocoa and coffee and phone charging during these power outages. And that's a lot of what the people just want. They just want their phones recharged and get a hot cup of coffee. They don't want to leave their homes usually. So if that's the case, just make sure we're not done. Make sure that if you're going to travel, you have a saw in the back of your car that can help remove trees. And again, that's the biggest thing, with this is that if you have problems like that, and the other thing too is check on your neighbors too, just like with Commissioner Bell. Luckily, a neighbor was there to help. And that's the most important thing, is that we need to just get together as a community or a herd, whatever we want to call ourselves, and just take care of each other, because some people have great generators for backup and they can invite people over to sit on their couch for a few hours to warm up and that. So that's the important thing. But also, you've got to make sure you're prepared. Have non-perishable food and drinking water stored to get you through at least a month, if not longer, if you can, because that's, if you're going to be stuck in your home, that's what you need to do. You also may want to look at some alternative cooking sources. Propane stove that you use outside, not in your garage, but outside for additional cooking, is a good thing to do too, is to have, just look at some alternative sources that you can do to get through it. I'm hoping that we don't go 7 days. But we never know, because that's what really hurts us with our powers when the main lines go down. Because how great Tillamook PUD is, that's the only thing that slows them down. Right. To fix is when those main power lines are down, and that's what I heard last was released up north. And of course, their crews are going out. So if you see their crews, thank them for all the work they're doing. So
absolutely, thank you very much.
You bet.
Thanks, Randy. I do know that parts of South County, according to staff, and south of Tillamook also have no power, which would be unrelated, not main line. The problem with that is it's very remote.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get crews into where the problems are. So thank you, Randy.
Yeah.
All right, move on to item number 8. This is a consideration of a professional services agreement with Dowell for the Mill Creek Culvert Replacements Project. Chris Lady, Public Works Director. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Commissioners. So last week I presented the notice of intent to award for this project. This is a actual contract for this. This is associated with the Federal Highway Aquatic Organism grant. The state of Oregon, all across the state of Oregon, submitted 8 applications, or they received 8 awards for this program. We received 2 of the 8, so we were very successful with that. One was for Myrtle Creek, which is currently done, and this one is for 2 culverts on Mill Creek, both of which are getting funded due to the presence of coho, or the potential presence of coho. 2 bridges for the design and design only, $435,970.14, which that is approximately out of county pocket $87,200 roughly. So request that you approve this contract.
Questions, Commissioner Bell?
I don't have questions, again, because we talked about this last week. I'm glad we're moving forward with it.
I would agree with that. So, ready for a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a professional services agreement with Dowell for the Mill Creek Culvert Replacements Project.
And I second that. We have a motion and a second. We'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And Chris, I wonder if you would be, do you have any words of wisdom about the culvert on Anderson Road?
So Anderson Road is not out of the woods yet. We do have, while Randy was probably en route to your office, National Weather Service released an update to the river gauges, and Nehalem River, there's not a gauge on Anderson Creek, but Nehalem is expected to hit minor flood stage the night of the 19th. Because Anderson Creek is so close, it appears that the weather pattern seems to be closer to the North County. So I expect Anderson Creek to continue to have some problems. That culvert is, we were out there yesterday morning trying to unplug it. It's a 5-foot diameter culvert. We've tried to unplug it. It's completely full. So what's happened is the water has not going into the culvert. It was going over the road and above the pipe. So it's no longer going over the top of the road. It is not going through the culvert, so it's going across the top of the culvert below the road and then dropping into the culvert and then going downstream. So today, if we can get off, the guys have been up since midnight, 1 o'clock, taking care of fallen trees. But the intent today is we know where the plug is. We don't know how deep the plug is into that culvert. Again, it's a 5-foot diameter culvert. We'll have equipment up there to try to open that up, the top of the culvert, so we can get water flow into it instead of under the road and into it. We do have surveyors going to be surveying that. I do have beams in the yard that we think we can fit. That culvert has a significant skew to it, and there's a driveway right there that makes this complicated. The long gone are the days we can just go out there and take it out and put a culvert. So I talked to the fisheries biologist yesterday or Monday, and there is 0.6 miles of potential coho habitat up there. So it does trigger fish passage, which in an emergency situation, we can pretty much do what we want. But we'd like to, try to get something that's, if we're going to throw money, let's do it right. Certainly, we don't want to get to the point where it blows out and then we do it. So we're trying to take the proactive steps of opening this thing up and then go through the process. We've not been successful going after grant money for this. The expected cost of the construction alone under a proper normal procedure would be about $1.5 million for construction only, and with about $300,000 to do the design for this location. We are also looking at this from the perspective of how do we do an emergency measure by putting in this bridge or maybe a culvert. It possibly could go that route and still maintain traffic up there. Pulling this out and putting in a new culvert, it's 5-foot diameter culvert today. It cannot carry the water. It can't carry the debris that flows down. So it needs to be larger than 5 feet, which would make sense. You start going above 48 inches, then that starts getting a little bit more challenging. We also have to locate that pipe and bring it in, which is likely better to go with our 58-foot beams that we currently have in the yard. So we're not out of the woods with Anderson. Anderson is one of the 3 locations that we're closely monitoring. We're actively working on Anderson. trying to get this through, but with the projected rainfall that is expected here soon, we're not out of the woods yet on Anderson.
Thank you very much. That's helpful. And I appreciate the information and also your attention to the matter and all the work you're doing. Thank you.
And Chris, I want to thank your crew. So can you, just for the record, I think I ask you this every time, but how many culverts do we have in Tillamook County?
4,000.
And how many
We have
bridges?
we have 118 bridges, so we have one bridge per every 3 miles of road. 4,000 culverts, which is obviously a lot more than one per 3 miles of road. One of the positive thing, these larger culverts are typically fish passage culverts. When you look at the Federal Highway Administration AOP grant, it's interesting. It's a highway project grant, and it's based on coho, or threatened and endangered species. And the grant that we applied for, I had the U.S. Fish Wildlife Service biologist essentially write 80% of that grant. We added 20% into it because that's how that was scored. So this one being coho habitat doesn't have to have, it's historic from the ODFW. Gives us a leg up in going for future grant funds for this. So even if we get a 58-foot on the ground, if it fits, we're not sure if it'll fit. We will still likely go after grant money if we can get it. There's, again, over half a mile of potential coho habitat that the local fisheries biologist identified. That would help significantly. But for 4,000 culverts, we have 5 guys that maintain all the roads from Highway 6 north, and 6 guys that maintain all the roads from Highway 6 to South County. Obviously, we can't get to everyone, but Anderson is definitely been working on that one quite a bit.
Well, I appreciate it. The next question was gonna ask you how many personnel we have doing all this work. And so it looks like 11 on the ground.
That's correct.
Okay, well, thank you so much for the update and all the information. And thank you, crew, for the work they've done.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to item number 9. Consideration of an order in the matter of ordinance amendment request number 851-0000261-PLNG, a legislative text amendment request to amend Article 3, Section 3.310 of Residential Oceanside Zone of the Tillamook County Land Use Ordinance to establish middle housing types as outright permitted uses. Sarah Absher, Director of Community Development. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. So we are finally done with a 2.5 year project to codify all of our residential zoning districts in our unincorporated communities that are part of Senate Bill 406 with this order, and the order is the next agenda item. So the order in front of you as agenda item number 9 is for Oceanside to officially adopt the middle housing codes. We have continued to do the work. They are technically already in effect, so this is a formality, but it does feel good to get the order signed. And then I will finish my part with the state to codify all of this work. So as you are aware, I am continuing to work with Oceanside on their other proposals. They had several proposals come forward for your consideration that included reduction of building heights, looking at code changes for the commercial zone, etc. And none of those are part of this order today. So I am continuing that work. So what is before you in this order and in the attached residential Oceanside zone, a copy of what their zoning district looks like. The only changes that have been made that I am requesting adoption in your signature for are those changes related to middle housing codes. I've already had one great conversation with the community about the commercial zone updates. I feel very hopeful that I will be back before you in a couple of months with that. And then we'll tackle some of the bigger issues with the residential zones. So just the middle housing code updates today. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Bell.
I have no questions.
I have no questions. I just want to thank you again. We've talked about this quite a bit. 2 years, a lot of work. I want to thank the community for their involvement, participation in this, and all of your staff and all the work that was done for this. So I think it's good. Ready for a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move approval of order number 25-072 in the matter of ordinance amendment request number 851-000-261-PLNG, a legislative text amendment request to amend Article 3, Section 3.310, residential oceanside zone of the Tillamook County Land Use Ordinance to establish middle housing types as outright permitted uses.
I second that. Hearing a motion and a second, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
And we'll move on to the next one.
Yes.
Item number 10, consideration of an order in the matter of ordinance amendment request number 851-25-000272-PLNG, a legislative text amendment request to amend Article 3, Section 3.300 of the Neoconi Urban Residential Zones of the Tillamook County Land Use Ordinance to establish middle housing as outright permitted uses. Sarah Apsher?
Thank you, Commissioner. So again, rounding out, this is the last one. So before you again is an order for adoption of the Middle Housing Code updates in Neoconi. Similar to Oceanside, Neoconi had other requests on the table and other concepts that they wanted to pursue to address community livability concerns. As we discussed in the hearing on December 3rd, some of those other items have been tabled, as with Oceanside, and I will continue my work with the community to further explore options that provide a more equitable outcome for all community members. So with this order, just like Oceanside, it is only the Middle Housing Code updates, and Exhibit A is what the Neoconi Urban Residential Zone will look like moving forward with those updates. Also, Exhibit C is included because I wanted to make sure the findings that we talked about for that administrative rule that allow alternative design standards to retain their existing building heights. So part of this order package are those additional findings that have evolved through the hearings process and through our work. So in Exhibit A with that Neoconi Urban Residential Zone, you will see that those maximum building heights have remained at 17 and 24 feet. And then I will continue my work with the community on the other things and hopefully be back in the near future.
Great. Questions and comments, Commissioner Bill?
I just want to basically repeat my fellow commissioners' thanks to you and say that for folks who don't know, you are the project lead in these community groups and discussions in the community advisory committees, and it's a lot of work and in some cases difficult work. You know, working with groups of people who have varied experience and varied opinions, and people who are passionate about things, and so the only reason that I have some sense of how difficult that is because I've attended a few of those meetings with you, and I just want you to know how very grateful I am for that work. It's kind of behind the scenes work, but it's so important. And so this is important work that we're voting on today, but also it's a tremendous body of work. So thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
I also just want to add that this is finally going across the finish line here in a few minutes. I know you're so happy about that. I also just want to say that this is our commitment to middle housing. I mean, this is we're going to be able to provide more opportunities for people to create middle housing. So I'm really happy to see this accomplished, and I'll echo everything you said regarding the community's involvement. And again, these land use issues are often divisive, and this was no exception. And what's great about it, though, is I felt like at the end of some of the planning commission meetings, I saw people actually seeing each other and compromising and moving forward for the greater good of that community. So great work, hard work, glad it's done, ready for a motion.
Thank you. One more thing.
Oh, yeah.
Just for folks who are watching or wondering, the reason we do this work is because there are so many unincorporated communities in Tillamook County. So the CACs, the community advisory committees that I was just referring to, are in unincorporated communities that are not cities, so they don't have their own government. So the county has the responsibility for governing, and that's why we convene these committees. And so it's just a really important process. And And I'm not only grateful to Sarah, but also to all those community members who serve.
Absolutely.
Well said.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move approval of order number 25-073 in the matter of ordinance amendment request number 851-25-000-272-PLNG, a legislative text amendment request to amend Article 3, Section 3.300, Neocani Urban Residential Zones, NK 7.5, NK 15, and NK 30, of the Tillamook County Land Use Ordinance to establish middle housing types as outright permitted uses.
Could you repeat that?
No.
I second that. Hearing a motion in a second, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay. You know, fun. Item number 11, consideration of an order in the matter of reappointment of members to the Tillamook County Housing Commission, Parker Salmons, Housing Coordinator, Department of Community Development. Good morning, Parker.
Good morning, commissioners.
I feel like it's been a while since
th-
we've seen Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a little bit.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you. Good to catch up. We keep trying to get lunch, Paul. Dave Bennett, Megan Carpenter, and Kristen Koptiak have all been key contributors to the Housing Commission, and we are lucky and grateful that each is willing to continue to serve on the commission. I can't really express enough gratitude for the work of all of the volunteers on that commission. It is hard work, and we are just so grateful to have willing community members with such amazing expertise to help us.
Thank you, Parker. Will you please repeat the names? I didn't quite hear them.
Oh, sure. Dave Bennett, Megan Carpenter, and Kristen Koptiak.
Thank you very much.
And I want to thank all three of them for the willingness to do this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Absolutely supportive of this. Thank you, Parker.
As am I. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Mr. Chair, I move approval of order number 25-074 in the matter of the reappointment of members to the Tillamook County Housing Commission.
I second that. Hearing a motion in a second, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Parker.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along here. Item number 12, consideration of contract for goods with Cerium Networks for infrastructure system hardware replacement. Randy Norbum, Information Service Operations Manager. Good morning. Sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied today.
That happens to me every day. Good morning.
Good morning.
So this is a contract from Cerium Networks to replace our hardware infrastructure. The current system we are using is called VX Rails. It was purchased back in 2020. It is due for renewal in June. With this renewal on the horizon, the ICE department has been considering some various options, including pursuing renewal with VX Rails. One factor we considered is that VX Rails was previously owned by Dell when we purchased it, and it has since been sold to a company called Broadcom. And we are a little uncertain about a future with Broadcom. We don't know. We're expecting price increases, and we're not sure if there's going to be any service changes with that. So with that factor in mind, we wanted to take the opportunity to move to another solution that will hopefully keep pricing a little more predictable, provide that stability to Tillamook County as we continue to provide those essential technical services. This will come in at about $20,000 under what pursuing a renewal with VX Rails would cost at this point in time. The solution we'd like to move to is called Hyper-V, which is owned by Microsoft, which is fantastic because we are in the Microsoft ecosystem. What this contract encapsulates, see I'm tongue-tied, is the costs for the hardware we intend to purchase, as well as professional services costs for Cerium Networks to help us implement the technology. And this would be a project that we would hope to complete by the end of spring. So I would hope to seek your approval for this, and I'd love to answer any questions or give you more information if needed.
Okay, great. Commissioner Bell, I know you're a big techie. I'm sure you have some questions. Lots of-
I think he's making fun of me right now. No, everything, I'm far from expert in your field of expertise. But the things you've said make perfect sense. For one thing, 2020 is a long time in technical years. And for another thing, we need a major provider who will be like Microsoft, who will be available to help us when we need help. So all of this makes sense to me.
Excellent.
I would agree, and also it sounds like it's going to save us a little bit of money. So
Yes.
that's always good as well. So I'm ready for a motion.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move approval of a contract for goods with Cerium Networks for infrastructure system hardware replacement.
And I second that. Hearing a motion in a second, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Brandy.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
Thank you,
much.
Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. I wasn't insinuating a flip phone, but we might. Okay, item number 13, consideration of agreement with Dynamic Point for Easy AP 365 invoice automation software. Deborah Jacob, Director of Financial Services. Good morning.
Good morning. So before you today is an agreement with Dynamic Point for their Easy AP 365 application. This application will automate our invoice capture, approval, workflows, and data entry. It directly interacts with our current accounting software. They have a pre-built API, which is application programming interface. So the data entry component alone will save the treasurer's office 6 hours per week, which more than covers the cost of the software that we are looking into. Additionally, we do anticipate that it will create efficiencies in outside departments as well, exceeding its cost of investment.
Great. Commissioner Bell.
This is fabulous news. As commissioners, we don't deal with invoicing personally very much at all, but I had the opportunity to when I was the interim director of parks, and I was amazed at how much stuff was still being done manually,
Yeah.
one at a time, and people going over it in the departments, then people going over it in your department, and I thought, oh my gosh, it was a lot of tedious work. So it makes perfect sense to invest in automation for efficiency in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's I think it also goes back to our commitment. We recognize, the board recognizes the importance of updating our software and hardware. And 6 hours is tremendous in a 40-hour work week to save.
Yeah, that's 0.15 FTE per year.
I mean, that's incredible. So
Yeah.
I'm excited, absolutely supportive. I'm ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of an agreement with Dynamic Point for Easy AP 365 invoice automation software.
And I will second that. Hearing a motion in a second, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah.
All right. Moving right along. Item number 14, consideration of a tentative interlineated collective bargaining agreement with Oregon AFSCME Local 2734, Rachel Haggerty, Chief Administrative Officer. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am pleased to present to you the new collective bargaining agreement between Tillamook County and Oregon AFSCME Local 2734. Last night, I am told it was overwhelmingly ratified by the union membership, which was very exciting to hear. Over the last year, the county management team and the union representatives convened during numerous sessions to present and negotiate proposals regarding the agreement articles and employee compensation. The process took much longer than anyone anticipated, but the commitment and collaboration by the teams continued to be exceptional. Before reviewing the highlights of the new CBA, I would like to thank several individuals that continually showed up to the table to negotiate. Representing AFSCME, Deb Kidney, labor attorney, Ted Rill, the council representative, Morgan Niles Stubb, president, Cassandra Smilek, vice president, and stewards Belinda Bentley, Garrett Knopf-Singer, Stephanie Pelto, and Ryan Trogdon. Representing the county management team, Jenny Marston, our labor attorney, Dan Kais, Parks Director, Chris Lady, Public Works Director, Irene Fitzgerald, Community Health Chief Financial Officer, Mary Jo Beckstead, HR Analyst, and Sean Blanchard, Treasurer. So I'm going to go over the highlights in two parts, the first being non-economics and then the economics. For the non-economic highlights, there were a lot of copy edits and formatting that were completed throughout the new CBA. There were revisions to numerous articles to add specificity and clarity on what they meant or the intent of those articles. On page 20, there was a former reference to an insurance meeting that has been revised to describe the Health Benefits Committee. Just saw a typo there. We need to revise Health Benefits Committee. This basically describes, I wanted to highlight this provision because of the increased awareness that we're all talking about regarding total compensation and how that affects employee wages. And the revisions to this provision describe the intent of management and the union membership to collaborate regularly on employee benefits, and further add the intent of the parties to invite insurance representatives as they can participate and are allowed to do. On page 25, there's a revision to vacation cash out. There's been a desire that we've been talking about for the last several months for there to be more flexibility in employees being able to cash out vacation. A lot of our employees are working schedules and are over capacity, which are other things that we're trying to resolve, and they're not able to use vacation and they end up losing vacation. And so while we have had a vacation cash out option, we wanted to build in some more flexibility so employees weren't losing vacation. So currently, there's two ways that employees can cash out vacation. One is immediately following a vacation where in one calendar year where they have taken 40 hours of consecutive vacation. And as you know, a lot of employees aren't able to do that, but that is an option available to them where they can cash out up to 40 hours upon return. Additionally, the second current option is in November, if an employee has taken 40 hours within the calendar year, they can take up to 40 hours of vacation cash out at the end of November. The new language is that employees can cash out vacation in May or October, and they can only do it once within a 12-month period. So we're no longer locked into a calendar year, but a 12-month period. If they've taken 40 hours, and it doesn't have to be consecutive, they can cash out up to 40 hours, and they also have to have 40 hours remaining. We're trying to protect the employees a little bit here. We don't want them draining their vacation to cash out, and then they need to use it for whatever reason. So that's a new article that we're excited about. On page 27, regarding 410s, there's been some confusion. This is where we added some clarity. There's been some confusions in the current CBA regarding employees who are working 410s and whether or not they're eligible for 10 hours of holiday pay when their schedule falls on a holiday. And so the language, I'll just recite it from the proposed CBA. Employees while assigned to work a 4 10-hour a day work week shall receive 10 hours of pay for each of the holidays listed above, which you're familiar with, in the next payroll period as they occur. All other employees who request to work a 4 10-hour work week, and their request is granted, will take the additional 2 hours off using vacation, comp time, or personal leave, or may elect to use leave without pay. So basically, if your department director is asserting that your department is on a 410 for operational reasons, not your desire to prefer to work 410, you get the 10 hours of holiday pay. If it's your preference to work a 410, even if your whole department is on a 410 because it's convenient but not an operational need, you have to use 2 hours of leave when a holiday falls on your day off. I think I said that right. But. Okay, so that's that change. Working out of class on page 31. Working out of class currently is triggered when an employee is assigned in writing by county management to work for 2 hours when eligible for certain types of work, and that's been reduced to 1 hour. on page 41 regarding seniority. We've had at least one situation in the last year when an employee has moved from a non-represented position back to the union. And the county determined it was appropriate to resume that employee seniority where they left off when they left the union. But the CBA was silent on that matter. And so we thought it was important to clarify that. So the proposed language is an employee who is promoted to a position outside of the bargaining unit will have their seniority frozen as of the first day of their new position. If they return to the bargaining unit, their union seniority will accrue going forward, less the time spent outside the bargaining unit. Okay, any questions on non-economics? And there's a lot of other revisions in there. I'm just hitting some of the highlights that I wanted you to be aware of. So for economics, I shared this with you in the table. There were a lot of changes to the economics, and there's a lot of economics throughout the CBA. I'm only highlighting the changes. So when I get to the allowances, for example, there's a lot of other allowances I'm just highlighting where there's a change in the value, the allowance amount, or who is getting that allowance, for example. So first off, compensation adjustments as a result of the Troop job classification study and the compensation and pay equity study, there are several recommendations to changes to individual employees or jobs in general, reclassifications, et cetera. And they are all compiled in the Troop report, which you've seen, and we've been bargaining with AFSCME for the last several months. And they are included in a summary table in the CBA pending our completion of the revised pay tables. So I'm not going to go through all of those adjustments per the compensation report, but there's a lot of them. Those will all be effective January 1 of 2026. Then in addition to that, there are 4 positions in the AFSCME group that will receive a retro payment consistent with the new ranges that they are slated to receive effective January 1, 26, but they will actually receive a retro payment to January 1 of 25 because they have been waiting for reclassifications for quite some time. On top of that, there is a COLA of 3%, which is retro to July 1 of 2025. July 1 of 26, there will be a COLA between 2% and 4% based on CPI. And in July 1 of 27, there will be a COLA of 2.5 to 4% CPI. We are adding a new tier for longevity. Currently, longevity is 2% at 10 years for AFSCME and 4% at 15 years. We are adding a 20-year tier at 6%. That will be effective upon ratification if approved by you today. So there's no retro here. This one is rolling forward. For on-call pay, there's an increase for juvenile counselors to go up to $200 per week. And for the emergency management director backup, whoever is serving in that role, currently there's 1 employee, but it could shift. That on-call pay is $24 per weekday, $40 per weekend day, again effective upon ratification by the Board of Commissioners. There's 3 new premium pays that have been added to the contract. Pesticide applicator pay, $150 per day worked. CDL hazmat pay, $500 per day worked, and a sign pay, and there's 2 different signs, $50 per sign or $100 per sign, and there's some more elaboration on what those premium pays are in the contract, and all 3 of those premium pays are upon ratification of the Board of Commissioners rolling forward, not retro. For HRA VEBA contributions, currently the county is providing $115 a month. On January 1, 26, that will increase to $165 per month. And on January 1 of 2027, an additional increase to $215 per month. For the tool, uniform, and equipment allowances, all effective November 30th of 26, because they have already received the allowance for 2025, which is provided in November. So it is effective now, but they've already received it. So the increase won't be provided to these employees until November 30th of 26. The changes to these allowances are $450 per year for flaggers, solid waste transfer station technicians, and survey technicians, $260 per year for park laborers, and $150 per year for park fee collector couriers. We have a more generic clothing allowance that is as assigned by the director. There's not a list of positions stated in the CBA. So as determined by directors, there is a clothing allowance that has been increased to $260 per year, and that is effective 11/30/2026, again, because those allowances have already been distributed this November. And then lastly, for essential personnel, there's a lot of talk about inclement weather and additional compensation to employees who are working during board closures. What was negotiated is effective 11/1 of 25, so there will be a retro payment for this compensation. Employees who are determined to be essential personnel, and that is elaborated on in the CBA, but concisely, those are employees who are deemed essential personnel in their job description. So all the jobs I'm going to list explicitly states in their job description that they are essential personnel. And those jobs are the mechanics 1 and 2, the road MEOs 1, 2, and 3, and the communications system administrator. For those employees, effective 11/1/25, they will receive an additional $300 flat compensation per month for the month of November, December, January, and February. That is the highlight of the economic changes. The estimated cost of this initial investment to support these economics this fiscal year is over $1 million that we have, and we did budget for that this fiscal year, anticipating these changes, and it's great that we were pretty on target for that. This is a valuable and vital investment in the county's workforce, and I thank you, commissioners, for supporting the management team in being able to negotiate this at the table with the union. Upon your consideration and approval today, staff will proceed with the final implementation of these changes. Most notably, the pay table adoptions. First to come before you will be the 3%, and then we will proceed with the revision of the 3% of the pay tables that have been changed by 3% to then include all of the market adjustments, which is a very heavy lift that HR and the payroll office will be working on. We will finalize a clean version of the collective bargaining agreement with the pay tables inserted, and that will be distributed. We're going to be working on the timelines for implementation and communicating that with managers and employees as those timelines are developed. But I can tell you, because of the timeline of this being ratified upon your approval today and the approval of the pay tables coming before you, which would be at the earliest, if they're ready, December 31st, because next week there's no meeting, all of these changes will not be disseminated until after January 1. And then lastly, what we would like to do is have some trainings with managers and union members on what the new changes are in the CBA. So that's further down the road, but something that we're excited to do this year. And I do know AFSCME is here in the room, and I think the labor attorney is online if they wanted to say anything.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, commissioners. It's an honor to be here, and I'm ecstatic to be here. My name is Morgan Niles Stubbs. I serve as the duly elected president of AFSCME Local 2734, and proudly so. And I also serve the public at the Public Works Department, providing administrative and accounting support to both roads and solid waste. I just wanted to take a moment, first and foremost, to thank the public and visitors of Tillamook County. They are why we are all here and why we leave our houses every day. And then, of course, the members of our union and our bargaining unit. I know we have some tuned in and perhaps some in the room if they're still here. And I just want everyone to know that you are woven into the pages of this contract, and it is a historical and living document. And so for that reason, I would be remiss if I didn't also thank those in our union that have come before us, who also negotiated that living document, many of whom are still employed by the county today, and some of whom are in this room with us as well. And thank you for recognizing both teams. I really think that this was such a monumental lift and such an accomplishment to get all three of these things done. And it is a wonderful thing for our unit, and I thank you for your support in that. And thank you so much to Deb Kidney, who is online with us, who stuck with us. I think both teams experienced so many challenges logistically and in life, and we just recognizing that the only way out of the fire is through. As Rachel said, we really just push forward, and I think we're all really proud of what's before you today. So thank you so much again for having me here, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Morgan. There's somebody on.
Anybody else online want to speak to this? Did you say?
I don't know. No, she went off.
Okay.
Yeah, ready for consideration.
Commissioner Bell, comments?
Oh,
questions?
it's such an achievement. It's really a celebratory time, and my thanks and applause to everyone who participated. To Rachel, for folks who don't know, who became the chief administrative officer this year and then became the interim HR director. So all of this fell under her purview this year, and was her first union negotiation experience, and it was a big one. And so it's it was a phenomenal body of work for Rachel. So thank you. And also to everybody from both teams who participated. It's really great. I was reflecting on the change in the county's relationship with union employees in the last 7 years. And the reason I'm reflecting on this is because it has changed substantially. It wasn't very long ago, less than 10 years, when there was a very adversarial relationship between the union and the county. And for example, when I was running for this position the first time in 2018, the union invited me to a forum, and I went happily, and they peppered me with questions about what was my plan to improve that relationship. And I didn't have a plan other than to listen and learn about it at the time. And what grew out of that was my commitment to improve the relationship. And I think we have. I think we have improved the relationship. And we're committed. It's sometimes things in government happen so slowly that it's painful. It's taken a whole series of HR directors who've started and stopped the process of updating job descriptions and doing the pay equity study. And, thanks to Rachel, she finally brought it over the finish line as the interim director. It's finally done, and thank God, because it's just been aggravating for everyone that it's taken so long. But now the good news is we have the baseline now, and we have the ability to keep it up. So we won't be in this position again. And so I hope that our employees feel the truth of our commitment, because that is the truth, that our employees are our greatest asset, and we can't provide any public service whatsoever without them. So I hope that people feel the intent of this and feel our appreciation. That's all for me.
That's well done. I think everybody's spoken so well about this. I don't think I can improve on it. I do appreciate the way Morgan, kind of the sanctity that she's treating this document. And And I was involved with bargaining for the Teamsters for many, many years. And I can speak to that adversarial relationship with both unions. And one of the reasons I did run was I thought I could help to improve that by at least representing that. One of the few commissioners that has been a county employee and a county union employee, and understanding that when I came to work here, it was like the best place to work. And then we went through some rough times, and then bargaining was horrible. It was a horrible experience. Everybody felt horrible. Managers felt horrible. Commissioners felt horrible. Union members felt horrible. And so I'm so glad that we got to this point in this county. I am just impressed with how you handled this. I'm impressed with how the bargaining units all handled this and the union handled this. This was a long year in the making, and this is an ongoing thing. This is an evolving, living document. Compensations, we have a whole new philosophy on that. There are positions that haven't changed in decades. The descriptions haven't changed, but the whole job has changed, and we're doing things that change it. So I am very proud to be sitting here and signing this. So I'm ready for a motion.
All right. Mr. Chair, I move approval of a tentative interlineated collective bargaining agreement with Oregon AFSCME Local 2734.
I proudly second that. Hearing a motion in a second, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Breathe. 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 Merry Christmas to everyone. Okay, any more board concerns? Do you have any board concerns? Besides for the giant Christmas tree that's sitting on your roof.
Oh, when I came in, I sent Paul a picture of the tree that's on my house right now. And when I came in, he was teasing me. He said he sent that picture out and told people that I had overdone it and gotten a Christmas tree too large.
It was a little too big.
So I just want to say happy holidays to everyone. However you celebrate, happy holidays. We won't have this meeting next week because it is Christmas Eve, which is a county holiday. And so I wish everyone very happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. I am looking forward to, are we still doing the potluck? Is that still happening? Does not happen.
Oh.
No, while I was in here with there was already a low number of RSVPs, and there's a handful of people, and with the power outages.
Yeah, a lot of folks
sent out a cancellation.
Okay, great. I haven't seen the cancellation. I did see the requests for numbers because people couldn't cook. They didn't have power.
Right.
So to all those people out there, that hopefully your power will be turned on real soon. And with that.
Yeah, but we are still doing the courthouse stroll tomorrow night. As far as okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, I will move on with the other meetings and announcements. The commissioners will hold a board briefing on Wednesday, December 17th, 2025 at 2 p.m., that's today, to discuss weekly commissioner updates. The meeting will be held in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 at the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook. Teleconference number, if you want to call in, is 1-971-254-3149. Conference ID 866-914-607#. The commissioners will attend an executive session on Thursday, December 18th, 2025 at 9 a.m. pursuant to ORS 192.662, subsection 2, subsection I, to conduct a performance evaluation. The executive session will be held in the Board of Commissioners meeting room, room 106, in the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook. The executive session is not open to the public, excuse me. Diane. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are observed holidays for Tillamook County. All county offices in the courthouse will be closed on Wednesday, December 24th, 2025, and Thursday, December 25th, 2025. In addition, the Tillamook County Library, administrative offices in the jail and justice facility, Public Works Department, Community Development Department, Surveys Office, and the Health and Human Services Department and clinics will be closed. The State Circuit Court located in the county courthouse will be closed on Thursday, December 25th, 2025. That's the wrong date. Oh, that's the right date. And with nothing else, I'll adjourn this meeting at 11:13.
job.